All right, today we're diving into a text that's as profound as it is, well, often misunderstood. It's a spiritual scripture that puts the divine feminine right at the absolute center of the universe. We are unpacking the Yoni Tantra.
So what's really inside? What secrets does this ancient text actually hold? Well, we're going to peel back the layers and explore its core ideas, using the source material itself to guide us.
Okay, first things first, let's just look at the text itself. This is the Yoni Tantra, a really key scripture from the spiritual tradition of, you guessed it, Tantra. And even just a quick glance at its cover art kind of hints at the powerful feminine-centric philosophy we're about to get into.
But before we can really wrap our heads around the philosophy, we need to understand the book. I mean, how has this ancient knowledge been kept and then presented for someone reading it today? This title page, right here, reveals something absolutely crucial. See how it presents the original Sanskrit verses directly next to a modern Hindi translation? Now, that's not just some small formatting detail. It's literally a bridge across centuries. It makes a really complex and ancient scripture accessible to a whole new audience. To really get this text, we have to understand its most central term, Yoni. Now, while it literally translates to womb or source, its tantric meaning goes so much deeper. It represents the divine gateway, the actual origin point of all cosmic creation. So it's essential to grasp that we're talking about a huge metaphysical concept here, not just biology.
You know, what makes this text so compelling isn't just what it says, but how it says it. This is no dry academic manual. It's actually framed as a conversation between gods.
The entire Yoni Tantra basically unfolds as this incredible dialogue between two of Hinduism's main deities, the god Shiva, also called Mahadev, and his divine partner, the goddess Parvati. This structure is so important. It frames the teachings not as some human philosophy, but as a divine revelation.
In fact, chapters will often kick off with this exact phrase, Shri Mahadev Uvacha, which means the great god Shiva said. This totally sets the scene. It's Shiva himself sharing this sacred, secret knowledge with Parvati, and through her, to anyone devoted enough to really listen.
And this divine conversation, well, it leads us straight to the philosophical heart of the text, this idea that the feminine principle is the absolute source of all creation.
So the core philosophy here is the worship of the Yoni as a pitha. Think of it as a sacred seat, or the physical embodiment of Shakti. And Shakti, well, Shakti is everything. She is the supreme, divine feminine energy, the dynamic creative force that brings the entire universe to life. And just listen to this. An English commentary included in the text puts this radical idea in no uncertain terms. It says the female is the primary and original sex, and that all life centers around her. Just let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just flipping traditional gender rules on their head. It's a complete reframing of existence itself, putting feminine creative power at the very, very beginning of it all.
Okay, so if that's the core idea, how does someone actually put it into practice? Well, the text lays out some very distinct paths for the devoted practitioner to follow. The tradition actually recognizes two main paths. On one hand, you've got Dakshinachara, the right-hand path, which follows more conventional orthodox rituals. But the Yoni Tantra is pretty famous for its connection to Vamachara, the left-hand path. And this path is, well, it's more radical. It intentionally uses things often seen as taboo, like meat, wine, or even sexual union in a ritual setting. But the key here, and this is so important, is that the purpose is not indulgence. It's about using these powerful elements as tools to confront and totally shatter our conditioned ideas of good and bad, to ultimately transcend them. And these practices are anything but chaotic. The text lays out incredibly detailed rituals, or puja. For the practitioner, the sadhak, this isn't random at all. It's a highly disciplined method. Every single element is designed to channel energy and focus the mind, all with one goal, to have a direct personal experience of the divine.
Which brings us to our final and really most important question. With all of these complex ideas and rituals, what's the end game? What is the ultimate goal? Where does this path actually lead?
The ultimate goal is 100% spiritual. It's about moving beyond the ego and our attachments to the material world. The whole point is to experience the fundamental unity of your individual self, the Atman, with the vastness of the cosmos, Brahman. Achieving this is called moksha, total spiritual liberation. It's the realization that the union of Shiva, pure consciousness, and Shakti, pure energy, isn't something out there, but a reality that exists right inside your own being.
So, we'll leave you with this to think about. In a world that so often separates the spiritual from the physical, the Yoni Tantra comes along and presents the body not as an obstacle to overcome, but as a sacred map of the entire universe, a direct gateway to the divine. And that raises a pretty compelling question for all of us, doesn't it? How does an ancient perspective like this challenge our own modern views on spirituality, the body, and the very nature of what is sacred?